Hello, Educate Magis community around the world. My name is Bill Watson. I'm a Jesuit. I live and work out of Seattle, Washington. I am founder and president of the Sacred Story Institute, which is an institute focused exclusively on the Ignatian examination of conscience, which I know is something that's important and of interest to all of you in the high school world out there, in the Jesuit high school world across this country and in Europe and in Latin America. I just want to tell you a little bit about a project that we're working on, a 2-year project to develop a teen Examen program for high schools around the world. But let me give you a little bit of background first in terms of why I'm doing this work with the Sacred Story Institute and why I think it's important. My first job after I was ordained was to found and direct retreat programs at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. I built a lot of great programs that are in place, and this coming spring I'm going back for the 25th anniversary of one of those programs. But in the late 80s, early 90s, I started noticing some challenges, great programs that we had, but kids were having a hard time of staying connected to God in the day-to-day. And right about that time I made a program that Jesuits call tertianship. It's our kind of third probation. You go away for a year. I went to Northern Ireland, make the 30-day retreat, and I got in touch with some very profound things in my life. And I realized that I'd kind of gotten disconnected in the day-to-day. I'd gotten a little too much into kind of my professional career, and I'd lost sight of God in my heart on a day-to-day basis. And I realized that I had stopped practicing the Ignatian Examen for about 8 years. And I realized on that 30-day retreat in that year in Ireland, about 21 years ago now, that I needed that discipline to keep my heart focused. At this same time, I told you I was finding kids who were having great experiences on the retreat, but they needed a way to stay connected to God in the day-to-day. So 21 years ago, I started focusing on this very, very key Ignatian discipline, the examination of conscience, which I see as the spiritual exercises in miniature. It's doing everything the exercises does in a very, very focused and a short way. So I knew I would eventually get a doctorate, which I did. I focused on the development of Ignatius's unique method of examination of conscience. A lot of the research in that doctorate is in my book, Sacred Story, an Ignatian Examen for the Third Millennium. And I knew that I not only wanted to get a doctorate on the Examen, the Ignatian Examen, but I wanted to build an institute around releasing this key spiritual discipline of Ignatian spirituality in a wholly new way to new audiences all over the world. We began in 2012. We took 2 years to develop our adult platform for the Examen called 40 Weeks, an Ignatian Path to Christ with Sacred Story Prayer. I have it in 2 covers, this one kind of more abstract and one with a picture of Jesus on it. We just released in June this year the result of another 2-year project for a Examen platform for pre-K through 8th graders. And we call that program Sacred Story Youth. That's all online on our website. But this project that I know you will have particular interest in is a platform for teenagers, which is the grade level that we all work with in terms of high schools. I was a Jesuit scholastic in Portland, Oregon at Jesuit High way back when. And I know how important it is to do quality spiritual programs for kids in high schools. And I know a lot of the Jesuit high schools around the world today are really interested and focused on this Examen discipline. So we're starting a project, a 2-year project, just began this fall. We have about 140 teachers in the United States, along with an English-speaking school in Managua, Nicaragua, who have just started the 40-week process. And this is the way we build these programs for the youth and for the teens. I have adults go through it, faculty members in high schools, Catholic and Jesuit high schools. And every week they take a survey. And I'm asking them 2 basic things. What did you learn spiritually this week? And how would you explain that to your freshmen or your seniors? Trying to mine that information from the boots on the ground people in the classroom. How would you communicate this experience, this spiritual wisdom that you're gaining to your kids? We're going to take all of that survey data from these weekly surveys over the course of 40 weeks, and then I'm going to be collaborating with one of the world's foremost specialists in boys and girls learning differences. His name is Michael Gurian, founder of the Gurian Institute. He's got about 30 New York Times bestsellers, including The Wonder of Boys, The Wonder of Girls, Boys and Girls Learn Differently. And Michael and I are going to collaborate together on the development of this program. There will be a platform for boys and for girls, because especially at the teen years, there's very different ways that they hear and learn, and we want to make sure that we're building this Examen program with the right words, images, language, music that will really penetrate the minds and hearts of boys and girls in these teen years. We're calling the program True Heart, Sacred Story Teen. And another exciting thing about it, it's our first bilingually developed program. I met with the Jesuit presidents of all the high schools of Latin America in Bogota, Colombia, just about a month ago. And we're expecting to have a lot of the faculty of the Jesuit high schools in Latin America starting the 40-week process in January to go through the whole thing, and we will be collecting data from people in all those different countries in Latin America and the Jesuit high schools who are participating to build a unique Spanish language version of True Heart for our brothers and sisters schools in Latin America. So I wanted to tell you about this project. I will keep you updated in blogs throughout the course of these 2 years through Educate Magis. I hope that your work with the Examen and your teaching work at your high school, wherever you are, is going very well, and that you have a very blessed year. I want to thank you for your work you do in high schools. I think it's probably the best work that Jesuits do in terms of transforming culture. And keep us in your thoughts and prayers as we move forward with True Heart, Sacred Story Teen, and bless you in your work. And thank you for listening. Take care. God bless.